1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report.
Oh, disgusting.
The Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys, this is James Hake, and I will be getting to your calls. This is the Hake Report. It is Wednesday, October 30th, 2019, and it's live in the fourth hour of Jesse Lee Peterson's stream. Shout out to Jesse, and shout out to all you guys on YouTube, D Live. Thank you guys for joining, dlive.tv/Jesse Lee Peterson. Mixer and Periscope, of course. So I have a quick few items to report to you, and then I want to get into this story that was that Jesse promised that I would get into. Well, he was just passing along the message because we got a call about the situation with Charlie Kirk of TPUSA, Turning Point USA, and Charlie Kirk seems to be giving bad answers to good questions, in my opinion. I'm not really I know that there's a lot of drama going on between Kirk and others, and I'm not into that, but I am into like basic right and wrong, and he's been getting some good questions and not giving good answers. And so I'm gonna play some clips for you guys so you can check them out. And many of you already know about it. Some of you don't know anything about it, and so hopefully it'll be cool. You can also get audio recordings of this show after the fact. You can listen on live audio by going to TalkStreamLive.com. Download the TalkStream app. I think it's also on TalkRight if you look for that app. You can find me, the Hake Report, live now. In fact, let me try it out. And you can also get it, of course, jlptalk.com. jlptalk.com. That is Jesse Lee Peterson's. It redirects to the jesseleepeterson.com, but the radio show section of jesseleepeterson.com. That's what jlptalk.com does. So I'm pulling up the TalkStream app, and there is also a TalkRight app. And let me see if I see myself. Scrolling. And maybe it's Jesse on right now still. But you should see me sooner or later. Scrolling. Oh, there I am. Nice. So cool. Zoom in on it. It's this one. Boom, right there at the top, right? The Hake Report. Awesome. It's so cool. See, you can kind of make it out. It says the Hake Report. Cool. Yeah, you're welcome. TalkStream Live. Look it up. It's a very handy app. A lot of people use it to listen to the Jesse Lee Peterson show. Now the Hake Report is on it. Cool. So anyways, let me do this. You can get audio recordings afterwards on Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spreaker. One of my listeners asked if we're all on Spreaker. Yes. Jesse Lee Peterson, his full shows are on Spreaker, as well as his show highlights. The 90s shows, Joel uploads them. Thank you, Joel. And of course, the Hake Report is also on Spreaker. Anybody who's on Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts. Anyways, I'm going to get to you guys. Appreciate you guys calling in already. And some of you are into this story that I'm going to get to. But just real quick, I want to report about this story that I thought was over with. Navy SEAL, and if you found his picture, that's great, Joel. But if not, put it up whenever you got it. Oh, yeah, he got it. Navy SEAL Eddie Gallagher. I think his real name is Edward, but there he is with his wife. I'm showing you a photograph of him. He's a Navy SEAL wearing his white Navy uniform. Oh, there he is in his, like, more manly gear. Combat stuff. 40-something years old. 19 years of service in the military. Tough guy. Manly, I guess you would call him, probably. And his story sort of reminds me, honestly, of the Proud Boys. I'm going to try to rush through this. And the reason I bring up the Proud Boys is that they tend to, like, try to defend the innocent people's free speech and innocent people against the evil people, being Antifa, who just attack anybody who supports America. Antifa wants no USA at all. They hate America. No borders, no walls, no USA at all. And so the Proud Boys, get into fights with Antifa, whether they should even go into places where they know Antifa is going to be in certain times. Maybe they don't need to be going. Okay, I don't know. Maybe that's the case. But in some cases, these are just men being men, or aggressive young men being men and being punished just for being men or being aggressive, too manly, right? In some cases, you don't need to be aggressive. But in some cases, it's just, this is how things happen. And you don't need to be softening men. And I think that this may be a case of that. It just kind of reminds me of it. There was a case where Proud Boys were defending the founder of the Proud Boys who denounced the Proud Boys. Dumb move, I think, in my case. In my opinion. Gavin McInnes spoke to Republicans. Standard speech thing over in D.C. or somewhere. Maybe it was New York, actually. And then they see Antifa guys and attack them. And maybe some of them, I don't know, maybe they get carried away or maybe not. Maybe we're just not getting the whole story. But maybe they kicked one of the Antifa guys while he was down. Something like that, where it's just men fighting out with one another. Antifa is known for attacking people. Unprovoked. Anyways. So this is weird, right? Drudge reports, Navy upholds a sentencing of a Navy SEAL, and that's this Eddie Gallagher guy, for posing with a corpse, a dead body. A 17-year-old, I think, ISIS fighter who was captured, he was injured, and then I think he might have been stabbed to death or something. Maybe put out of his misery. I don't know what the whole story is. But so he was tried for murder, this Eddie Gallagher guy. And maybe he was like too tough, too manly. And the underlings, the little soldiers underneath him, didn't like him for being too tough. Sometimes that's the case. That's why you see people turning on Trump. Too tough. So anyways, the U.S. Chief of Naval Operations on Tuesday denied a request for clemency, meaning forgiveness, I guess, and upheld a military jury's sentence that will reduce the rank of a decorated Navy SEAL convicted of posing with a dead Islamic State ISIS captive in Iraq in 2017. This is Edward Gallagher. Admiral Mike Gilday made this decision after carefully reviewing the trial transcripts and the clemency request by the lawyers of Edward Gallagher. So said Commander Nate Christensen, spokesman for Gilday, in a statement. Gallagher's lawyer, Timothy Parlator, said that they are disappointed in the ruling. Of course, that will cost Gallagher up to $200,000 in retirement funds because of his loss of rank from a chief petty officer to a first-class petty officer. The decision was first reported by military online publication Task and Purpose. So a while back, months back, a military jury acquitted Gallagher, and it was this summer, of murder for the death of the wounded captive, attempted murder in the shootings of unarmed Iraqi civilians, and other charges during his deployment in Mosul, Iraq. And President Trump has supported this guy on Twitter. I remember seeing a tweet in favor of this guy after he was acquitted of murder and stuff. So Parlator had argued that Gallagher should not have been punished for the photo after serving 19 years and being awarded 2 Bronze Stars. He noted others posing with the body were not punished. They were given immunity for testifying with the prosecution. So that seems very suspect, right? This guy wasn't the only one to do the so-called the wrong. It's like unclassy to pose with a dead body. I can understand that. But the other guys were doing the same thing. I lost my iPad for a second. So it's just the justice system has become more and more and more unjust and more female. Is that the Iraqi? Okay, I guess. See, look, there's the body, and you see the whole group standing in front of it. Is the dead body? Apparently, huh? So I don't know exactly the details of this case, but we're looking at a photograph of a bunch of soldiers standing and sitting like, like almost a class photo, right? Or a team photo. And then you see blurred image below them that looks like it could be a body lying on the ground. And they're punishing the guy in charge only. So, and I think the story goes that some of these guys turned on this guy, Eddie Gallagher. So, just a little update about that. I don't know what this story is. I don't know what kind of person he is, but Trump supported him. So I kind of tend to want to support him. And I know that there's a whole lot of political correctness invading our military and country. And you see a lot of unjust things happening, unjust prosecutions and stuff. So, you know what? Before I get to this turning point thing, let me quickly get to Rick and then Russell, and then I will get to this turning point thing. I have a lot in this turning point thing, so I want to get to it. But real fast, let me get to Russell out of Virginia. Russell, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, James?
Fine. What's up?
I called just to ask your opinion on what did you think about Alexander Vindman's testimony, because he was someone that actually heard the phone call from Donald Trump to Ukraine, and he testified that there were corrections to be made to the summary report that was given out.
So it wasn't corrections. It was, well, from what I read, it was that he wanted something that was redacted to be unredacted, meaning specifically the name of the company, Burisma, which Hunter Biden served on the board of that company, which is a Ukrainian gas company that hired Hunter Biden weeks, I think, after Joe Biden. After Joe Biden was named as the guy to deal with Ukraine under the Obama administration. So my impression of Alexander Vindman, who's like a who is a lieutenant colonel of the army, or was, and he wore his decorated stuff, looked like he was all American, patriotic, born in Ukraine, Ukrainian immigrant, came here at age 3, and he drummed up how patriotic he is and how he has such a sense of duty in saying this stuff. His concern was not that Trump was doing anything inappropriate, but that Trump's urging of Ukraine to investigate the Bidens could be perceived as politically motivated. And because of that perception, appearances, he was concerned that that might mess up America's relationship, bipartisan supported relationship with Ukraine. So he's interested in this Ukraine thing rather than investigating potential corruption by Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. So I think that this guy is a rhino. I don't know if he's even a Republican, right? I think that he's phony. These guys pretend that they're patriotic, and I'm not buying it. So I don't give his testimony any weight.
Can I ask you a question then?
Yeah.
If the conversation, in the words of Donald Trump, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you not have a transcript? Because we all know a transcript.
We had a transcript.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, we do.
Transcript is, no, sir. A transcript is a word-for-word representation of what was said. That's not what we had. We had a summary of what was said. That's why the lieutenant colonel had input, because there were things that were said that was not represented in the summary. So
you didn't name one thing? Can you name one thing? Can you name one thing that is valuable that he brought?
Can you answer my question? If everything was perfect and Trump did nothing wrong, why do we not have a transcript which is word for word exactly what was said? Because if there was nothing done wrong, then that conversation would show it.
No, why should he have? Why should? I don't know if. Hold on. Hey, Russell. I don't know if what you're saying is true. I don't really care, honestly. And
I know you don't, because you're a Trump guy. So of course.
Yeah, I'm a Trump guy, meaning I'm an America guy. Trump is for America. These people are fakes.
Trump is a blind businessman.
See? You're not an America guy.
What gives you the right to tell me what I am and what I'm not? Who are you?
Who are you to say what Trump is? Trump is the president of the United States, and he loves America more than any other president that we've seen. And for you to say that crap about him shows me what you are.
Part of that is true. Part of that is true. He is the president of the United States.
And he loves America more than any other president that we've seen.
How prove that?
I don't have to prove that. You're blind if you don't know that. You're blind if you don't know that. Just like Trump's call. Hold on, Russell.
That's once again you saying what you want to say.
Yeah, of course I'm going to say what I want to say.
Nothing you say. You don't know me.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
You're a Trump hater. You just smeared Trump falsely.
No. Listen.
That's hate. Yeah, that's hate to call him a lying businessman. That's hate, especially since it's not true.
He lies all the time. That's
see, you sound like CNN.
Can I prove you wrong on this one little fact?
I doubt it. You can try. Go for it.
Okay. Trump just recently said that a year before 9/11, he wrote a book and said that he called out Osama bin Laden and said that we got to take this guy out. We got to kill him. He's going to terrorize America. We got to kill him. His book is on record. Read the book. Does the book say that? It does not.
This is so stupid and picky, and nobody knows what you're talking about.
See,
we know that Bill Clinton. Hold on, Russell. We know that Bill Clinton had the opportunity to take out Osama bin Laden, but didn't. And so I don't know what you're talking about, nor do I care. We can plainly see that Obama is real, and we can plainly see that the people who hate. Did I say Obama is real? I meant Trump is real. When we can plainly see that the people who hate Trump are fake. And we can plainly see that this Alexander Vindman guy trying to play up his, I'm so patriotic. Ooh, and I'm such a sense of duty. So phony. No, everybody can see through that except for the blind people who already hate Trump. Anyway, Russell, I got to go, man. Nice talking with you.
Well, no. Can I say one thing before you hang up on me?
All right.
Okay. I've noticed something. You don't dispel what people say. You just basically say, I don't care whether he lies or not. Who's going to pay for the wall?
Mexico is going to pay for it. Mexico is going to pay for it. Don't worry. Got to go, man. Nice talking with you. Rick out of Hampton, and then I will get to these turning point things. It's so interesting. Rick, how you doing, man?
Laying those out.
Rick is not ready. I'll get to him later. And Dan and Bobby and all you guys, hang tight. So, Turning Point gave bad answers to good questions, right? And by Turning Point, I mean Charlie Kirk, who's the face of Turning Point. I've always liked this guy. And so I'm a little confused why he wouldn't just... I think a lot of people have standard thinking. This is probably a very gracious way of putting it, right? A lot of people have very standard thinking. And Republicans have turned more and more like Democrats, right? And here's examples. I have these clips that I took from yesterday's event from Turning Point USA YouTube channel. Culture War with Charlie Kirk and Rob Smith. And Rob Smith is a black, so-called gay, so-called conservative. He actually calls himself a centrist. At Ohio State University, they're doing this tour thing, right, I guess. Streamed yesterday, Tuesday evening. Fleckus Talks also made an appearance at this event. He was trying to interview people outside protesting or something. But he's not in these clips, Fleckus Talks. Nice guy, good guy. Interviewed by Jesse on The Fallen State. Check it out. Rob Smith. Here's Rob Smith. He's that black gay guy that Jesse played the clip of him kind of rehashing what he said to Tucker Carlson amidst all this craziness from the radical homosexuals and radical transgender people. And he calls himself gay, and he's gay, and also he has a husband, and he loves his husband, and he's a gay veteran, and he's gay, and he's gay. And he's also conservative, so-called. Well, here he is in this meeting. He's on stage with Charlie Kirk at this TPUSA type of event. They call itself Culture War with Charlie Kirk. And he does this presentation, little presentation, and then Q&A. So here he is before the Q&A. Rob Smith calls himself a centrist. He's not actually a conservative. Well, he calls himself center-right. And center based on what? What's the center? The center should be the Constitution, right? That should be the center. So all the right, like Jesse would be a centrist, right? I don't know. And so all these other people are way far left. But anyways, here's part A, Joel. Rob Smith calls himself a centrist, a center-right guy.
I'm a centrist at heart. You know, I'm a center-right guy. Being from Akron, Ohio, being from the great state of Ohio, which I'm so proud of, that taught me every value that I have today other than the military. So it was Ohio and the military that taught me these values that I'm really proud of. I believe that we have more in common than we do that separates us.
Whatever. So that's where he stands. I don't like that type of we have more in common than separates us talk, because that's basically trying to join forces with evil people. So here's a man who comes to this event. There's multiple young men that you're going to hear from. And this is a longer clip, a couple minutes long. And he asks a valid question. He asks what, and I bleeped out part of it because it's a little vulgar. He didn't say a bad word. I just thought that it was unnecessary to say this particular word. This man asks how homosexual sex advances conservatism, because here is TPUSA propping up this man, this black man, who is gay and proud and loves his husband. And so how is that advancing conservatism as giving in to liberalism? So he asked this valid question, and here's their responses too. Listen to this, part B.
We now understand that sexual liberation is political control. It's a form of political control. And you have multiple times advocated on behalf of accepting homosexuality, accepting homosexual acts as normative in the conservative movement. How does sex help us win the culture war?
I'm going to let the gay man answer
Wait a minute. So can I ask you a question? Can you have the balls to ask the gay man on the stage that question and don't defer to him? Ask me that question. I will answer you that question.
I'm
going to answer you. You already asked the question, so I'm going to answer that question. I'm going to ask you that question. This is America. This is the greatest freaking nation in the world. We realize that America is great because we have Western values. We realize that, let me finish, dude. We realize that gays and lesbians are able to contribute to American society in the same way that everybody else is. And let me tell you, when you continue doing that, okay, you realize that we are here. We are able to do everything. And let me tell you something as well. I served in the military, right? I served 5 years. I did an Iraq tour. What's up?
How does homosexual sex help us win the culture war?
Who said homosexual sex helps you win the culture war?
That's the question that I'm asking. Why are you promoting it?
Well, it's a BS question, and you know it is. It's a question that is not it's not a good faith question.
So I'm going to be honest.
It's not a good faith question.
Rob, honestly, I don't care what two consenting adults do. So that's the
whole thing.
And your hyper focus on it is kind of weird. Thanks for being here.
You seem to be really interested in gay sex. I'm pretty sure if you're into that, you can go find somebody to do it with. I don't know, maybe. I'm not here to tell anybody what to think or what to believe, but for me, somebody like that doesn't really have any place in the conservative movement because it's something that is so behind the times. And you can boo and you can do whatever you want to, baby, because I'm going to be me, and I'm still here.
Evil. So, valid question, dirty response. And, it's a little bit of a dirty question. And for some reason, I just happened to look at the chat, and this guy, Tion, T-E-O-N, says, Hake is on damage control. What does that mean, Tion? Call in. I don't know what you're talking about. Damage control. Maybe he means because somebody called in about Charlie Kirk and stuff like that, and I was like, you don't need to get into the drama or the hatred of these people? He thinks I'm pro Charlie Kirk. Is that what he's thinking? Tion, call in with what you mean. Anyways, so that was a valid question. It may have been slightly whatever, because he did say, how does anal... I just repeated the word that I bleeped. But I should have bleeped when Rob Smith says that you're going to have the guts. He didn't use the word guts to answer me. But see, they totally gave liberal arguments. Why are you so focused on what they're doing behind the bedroom? If they kept it there, then maybe we wouldn't focus on it because we wouldn't know about it. He said, why are you promoting it? Valid questions. Here's another man asking about Christian morality versus centrists. And centrist just means liberals, to be honest. Part C.
My question is largely directed to Mr. Kirk because you were raised as a conservative. Part of the issue I see here is, what's your name, Rob?
Yeah.
So you're saying, you're behind the times, this isn't conservative. Well, we don't want centrists in the conservative movement. We want to retain our core values.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
We don't want drag.
But here's the thing. It's not about what you want, because here's the thing. The beauty about social media is that I can be me and I can bring myself to the table. And it's not about what you want, it's about what the people want. And if there are enough people in this movement that say, hey, Rob is cool, he's gay, whatever, it really doesn't matter what you think. You can say whatever you want, and you can believe whatever you want to believe.
Let me ask my question.
But it's not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing. And it's not going to deplatform me.
So my question is, again, it's directed to Mr. Kirk because he was raised as a conservative. As the guy before has said, you've advocated for homosexuality, said that there's a place for the gay agenda within the conservative movement. My question is, and you're also comfortable with transgenders and cross-dressers, I understand. So my question is there any point where conservatives should take a moral stance on Christian morality, or should we abandon it altogether? So in other words, what is what is your brand of conservatism doing to actually conserve Christian morality? If we're ceding to the left on transgender, gay rights, gay marriage, we don't want that in conservatism.
So you don't want him in the conservative movement? I just want to be very clear. Let's just be. Rob.
So you don't want me in the movement?
No.
Not if it waters down.
Hold on a second.
No, we don't.
I want to be very clear.
We don't need to compromise our fundamental beliefs.
Hold on a sec. You're bringing some very charged language. I'm going to try to calm down the temperature in the room, so I can try to rationally understand an irrational position.
Why should we?
Let me finish.
Compromise our fundamental beliefs?
Let me finish. So, I'm a Christian. I believe the Bible is the greatest book ever to exist in the history of the world, and I believe Rob Smith has decency and dignity as an individual in the United States of America. Hold on a second. We're not a theocracy. We never have been.
And you know what? And wait a minute. Let me hop in here. Hold on, because I'm in it.
Really
He's addressing me.
answers.
The thing that I don't understand. Well, I'm addressing you. How about
You
that?
don't even have the courage to address the gay man on stage.
So the problem that I have with as somebody that is a gay Christian, and this is the problem that I have,
no such thing.
Because my relationship with God and coming back into the church over the past year and a half is one of the greatest gifts that has been given to me in terms of being in this movement. So my question to everybody who tries to say that, oh, you shouldn't be, Christian because you're gay. Why are you trying to turn people away from God? So if you love God
Totally
and
twisted.
Christianity is so right, because I do love
Trying
God.
to turn you away from
so why
homosexuality.
would you be trying to turn me away? Why would you be trying to turn me away from God?
So we're going to get
and another thing, and one thing that I don't do,
question.
and one thing that I don't do is that there is no man that is of this earth that is going to tell me what God has for me and how much God loves me. So
Ain't no man
goodbye.
gonna tell
Thank
me
you
what
for
to
the
do.
question.
So I think I get where Tion was coming from, because Smolsnek says Hake was defending Charlie Kirk the other day. I don't think I was defending him. First of all, I don't pay attention to these people. So this is my first time seeing Charlie Kirk in action. I didn't even know what his voice sounded like. But I was defending not hating people, because a lot of people are hating these guys. And once you hate evil, you're part of the controlled opposition too. And anybody with anger is controlled opposition, because anybody with anger is controlled. But you're right. Do not accept it as a norm. And that's what they're. It's so dishonest. Their response is pretty evil, to be honest. So there's this and somebody's like bringing up, am I gonna play the questions about Israel? I didn't understand those as much. Those weren't as good of questions. Maybe I can deal with them later. You can call in about it. But anyways, a young man points out that whites, I'm going to play one clip and then I'm going to get to calls and I'm going to play the rest of the clips, hopefully. A young man points out that whites are the only ones as a majority voting Republican. And it's especially white men, right? And so he brings up the fact that whites are rapidly becoming a minority. And they are already amongst the young people. So here's that. Very interesting question.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau population projections, in 2045, whites will account for less than 50% of the population in the United States. Given that the Democratic Party's policies do not point towards the maintaining of our American ideals, and given the most groups other than whites overwhelmingly vote Democrat, how can we be sure that said American ideals will be maintained when millions of immigrants come in with majority Democratic support? Can you prove that our white European ideals can be maintained if the country's majority is no longer made up of white European descendants? If
right.
not, should we
I'm
support
not
mass
applauding.
legal
Let me
immigration?
finish. Okay, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. All right, let me answer, I guess, your question with my perspective. I've been asked this a couple times in the last week and a half. Let me tell you my stance on immigration, then I'm going to tell you where I think you go terribly wrong with your question, okay? I think that we should embrace Senator Tom Cotton's RAISE Act, which is to lower the amount of legal immigrants into our country, but increase the merit base that we let people to come into our country. End the visa lottery, end chain migration, make English the official language of the United States, build the southern border, and restrict the amount of flow of border jumping and line cutting to come into our country. But I'm always perplexed by this argument I'm always interested by this argument, like, oh, how are we going to maintain our white status? So let's play out that racist idea. And all of a sudden we let a bunch of French people in our country. No,
That's a caricature of his. He didn't say that.
Let's play that idea. We let a bunch of German or French people who are all socialist and hate our values. The insinuation of your question is that somehow race and ideology are intertwined together. President Donald Trump has been wrongly accused of being a racist president. Do you know that President Donald Trump received more support in the Latino and the black community than John McCain and Mitt Romney?
Because he's real.
Combined.
I will also say that it is a failure of the conservative movement to not be able to communicate to communities in the black community, which I believe the black community is an inherently conservative community, a community that is around the ideas of the Judeo-Christian tradition. It is a pro-life community. It's a hard-working community. And so to reject your premise that, oh, how are we going to keep the white status of this, I find that to be a racist question. I reject the idea behind it. I do not think America should become a white ethno-state as a country. In fact, I think that is a fringe perspective. I appreciate you being here, and I'm going to rationally push back against it every single time I come in contact with it. Thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate it.
So that was a realistic question. The young man has a realistic concern, and we all know that whites tend to vote conservative, and the whole rest of the POCs, for the majority of them, don't. And it's not even a good majority of the whites. It's like a declining majority of the whites who support conservatism, but it's still a majority. They're the only people, especially the white men, who tend to be conservative or for what's right, for what's sane. And racism doesn't exist, Charlie. So don't be falling for that stuff. But he's representative of the typical rhino stuff that you see in Congress. So he's like very typical of so-called Republicans nowadays. Remember, those Republicans voted to censure, what's his name? King, Steve King, Congressman Steve King out of Iowa. Republican who wanted to preserve Western civilization. And he's like, how did that become so-called offensive and tied up with so-called white supremacy? Dumb. And they censured him for it because they thought that he was defending so-called white supremacy. Stupid. Anyways, I'm going to get to some more about how long till drag shows start becoming the norm amongst conservatives, because look at how much these people have surrendered in terms of their values. And that asker was so right. And Charlie Kirk brings up Asians as though Asians are good to have in this country just because they're successful and less violent. It's not a good reason to bring them in because they vote Democrat. They support Obama. They hate whites. They fall for the anti-Christian stuff. We don't need to be bringing them in just because they're successful, skilled, and not violent. Anyways, let me quickly get to some callers. Let me see quickly back to Rick. Rick, out of Hampton, you there?
Black men will sometimes feel like...
Rick, I'm hanging up on you. Sorry. I don't know what Rick is listening to. Bobby, out of Nashville, Tennessee. How are you doing, Bobby?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing fine.
Good. 2 quick questions. First, was that you last night on the Nick Fuentes live stream asking about Groypers?
Yeah, I asked what a Groyper was because he's like, go Groypers. I was watching Nick Fuentes. This is how I became exposed to it, right? Because
did you
on D
figure it
Live, what's that? He was on D Live.
Did you figure it out?
He explained it what it was, that it's basically a Pepe, and then Pepe the frog, right? It's like another version or something like that. And then I looked it up online, and it's supposedly a more racist version of Pepe.
Oh, right.
Something like that.
That's kind of the typical line, and racist, white supremacist.
How did they come up? I feel like that's a real word, Groyper. Doesn't that sound like a real word almost?
It does, but I don't think it is. I think it's literally just, it's leftover meme magic from 2016, and people on the dissident right we can't get our message heard, so the only way we can get on the mainstream is to kind of meme our way into it. And so this whole movement has coalesced around this cartoon frog, and it's pretty hilarious.
Yeah. I've noticed that the alt-right, if you will, I don't know if you would even call them that, but maybe they are, the pro-white people, let's call them that, the white advocates, they are subversive. And yet, you can't really blame them for it because they have to use the bigger platforms, go on to the bigger platforms to get noticed. And use the bigger platforms.
You see what they do to us with their smearing?
Say that again?
I said, well, you see what they do to us with all that smearing. They
Who's they?
Don't answer the...
such as
the gatekeepers.
What Charlie Kirk did with smearing those guys is, it's kind of weird that you're into homosexuality. That's such a would he treat a boomer like that? I mean, because there's boomers that would ask that question. Boomer Christian conservatives who don't like all this acceptance of homosexuality. And then would he ask them if it's kind of weird that you're all focused on homosexuality? That's such a dishonest liberal response. That's really evil.
It's totally dishonest gatekeeping. They're just, this is why people call him grifter and gatekeeper. And my second question really, really quick was...
He's no different from all the establishment rhinos, though. That's what's unfortunate.
Exactly.
Even Ted Cruz, who's
like
like all these people believe in racism and they kiss up to the gays, and it's so pathetic. Yeah.
I think it's by design. You said 2 very interesting things. First, you said that you were a fan of Charlie Kirk and you don't understand why he's...
I didn't say I was a fan of him. I said I like him.
Yeah. And then you said, thanks. And then you said, I don't really understand why he's defaulting to liberal tactics.
Yeah.
And then you also said, I don't understand why everyone keeps bringing up all this Israel stuff. And my only comment to you about that...
I didn't say I don't understand it. I just said that I don't understand some of the questions. Like one of the questions was, would you do something that's 100% in favor of America, but that's detrimental to Israel? And I wish that he had been more specific, like with a specific thing that was an example of something that's 100% beneficial to America, but hurts Israel. Like I would love to hear an example of one of those things. But anyway,
for sure, and I think you're going to hear it. But those 2 things, Charlie Kirk not really making sense, and also the Israel question, those 2 things are more related than you realize. And all you have to do is go to the Turning Point USA donors page and just look up who those people are. And you realize it's people like Sheldon Adelson, who are Israel firsters, who pay these people to go up and gatekeep and to prevent America First. See, America First has a long history, and even prior to World War II, people in the America First movement were called Nazis and racists, and all this stuff because we didn't want to go to war with Germany.
Okay.
So, this is a long, long propaganda war, and people just have to...
How come they lost? How come the America First people lost? Do you know?
Because, well, for 2 reasons. Number one, powerful media forces. I mean, people who own the banks and the
Tend to be
media and
liberal.
everything and the establishment, they
Tend to be
get
anti-American.
gatekeep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get because they're globalists.
But still,
They
it's
want
still
no
not
borders.
it's still not a good reason to lose, because the media is even more powerful, you could argue, today. Well, maybe less, because we have social media and everybody has a little bit more of a voice.
The same people still own the media, and at the end of the day, the people who own the media and the banks, they answer to their father, Satan. So we are up against literally the most evil forces in all of history.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate it, Bobby. Take care, man.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Let me quickly get to Thomas out of Canada. I wonder if this is Tion. Thomas out of Canada, Montreal, Canada. How are you doing?
How are you doing, Hake?
Fine. Is this Tion or no?
Tion? Who's Tion?
Never mind. Somebody chatted and I told him to call in, but.
Oh no.
Oh, okay. I'll get you. I'll get you later, Tion. Anyways, go for it.
I called you before the other day for the Maxime Bernier. Remember?
Oh, okay. Yeah, Maxime
anyways,
Bernier.
I won't talk about this. I just want to say the idea of having America majority white population is not racist at all.
Yeah. It's
like,
ridiculous.
let's be
well, I
real
mean, there's
here.
no such thing as racism anyways, right? But
No,
it doesn't
but,
even
like,
matter.
if
It's
you
not
would
fringe. It shouldn't even be fringe. That's ridiculous to... ridiculous.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's just, the thing is, like, if we would go into their racism game and like, analyze how they think, it wouldn't be racist, even at that point, it wouldn't even be racist at all. 'Cause
Right.
Let's be real, like if you go, like, in a country like Egypt, like, an Egyptian nationalist wants his country to be majority Egyptian blood. And
Right.
Chinese would like, it's completely logical sense. So
It's more than just the blood, though. It's the sanity of the whites. You can just plainly see present day reality. For whatever reason, the whites vote sane, and the majority of whites vote sane, right? And the majority of others do not. And you could
No, I
even
know.
argue that the majority of whites even get suckered sometimes, like we voted for
And,
bad ones.
And
but-
I would even argue that his point saying, like, to try to legitimize Trump votes in the black community was nonsensical, because, like, when he said Trump gets more votes than Mitt Romney and the other guy combined, like, it doesn't, like, no one knows about these two guys, and for two, they either vote for Trump, which is not a lot, or they completely vote Democrat, which the discussion cannot be made in this scenario. You know what I mean?
All right. Yeah. I appreciate it, man.
All right, Hake.
Take care, Thomas.
Bye.
Bye. Let me real quick, get to Fem Fic? Fem Fic? Oh, okay. Fem Fic out of Vancouver, Canada.
Hello, sir.
First
How are
time
you?
calling. Fem Fic. Fine, how are you?
Hi. Hey, good. So I was the one who was asking why you were ignoring all of the questions that Kirk was asked about Israel.
Oh, yeah.
You seemed rather confused. You didn't really seem to understand. So
Right.
A while ago, Kirk was in Jerusalem, I believe.
Yeah.
And he said that America was nothing but a placeholder for ideas. It was nothing more than that. And that if Chicago and Boston all disappeared, it wouldn't really matter because it was just ideas. And Israel was the main exception, actually the only exception.
Exception to what?
Exception to countries just being about ideas.
Oh.
And he said, he said Israel is the exception because something about the
victimhood of the Israelis?
No, the ties to the religion and the land and stuff. So
Right, okay.
But
I mean, it's a dishonest statement, because the founders said that you can't have freedom without morality. And morality is from God. And they were believers in God, most of them. And they were actually, like, sane people. And at the beginning, they wanted white men of good character coming in. I mean, I heard that George Washington was for, the other races coming in to help work and stuff like that. I heard, and I don't know if that's true or not. And if so, that may have become a mistake, because those other people they gain power well, the false physical type of power that is not good for the country because they don't believe in what's right. They believe in selfishness. So
do you see an issue with? Obviously, you see the issue with what Charlie Kirk said, and you see why.
Yeah, he's wrong about that. And I saw. I mean, I googled when they said dancing Israelis. I googled that, and I found out that there's like 5 Israelis, a couple of them Mossad or something like that, that were taping people flying into the building. Fox News covered it. It was crazy.
Yeah, well, they had crazy foreknowledge of 9/11. This was proven.
That's what it seemed like,
covered up. Also, if you look up the USS Liberty, it's another thing that's covered
I'll look
up.
that. I'll look that up eventually.
Also called it a conspiracy theory. So it was Israel attacked a huge vessel, a Navy vessel.
What year was this?
Hold on, I don't know.
What decade? What era?
It killed 34 Americans. You can easily Google it.
Yeah, I know. I just haven't had the interest to do it.
And it injured
USS Liberty. I know that supposedly Israel sank the USS Liberty.
1967.
Okay.
But anyways, he called it a conspiracy theory, and this is a very proven thing. 34 Americans died and injured like 170 of them.
All right.
He called it a conspiracy theory. And just one other thing. So I highly recommend that you look that up. And to end this, you said you couldn't think of a situation that would benefit the U.S.
Well, I just wanted. It's not that I couldn't think of one. It's that I wanted to hear what he was thinking because he wasn't specific. It was more of like a hypothetical.
I can think.
Yeah,
of
mention one. Mention one.
Like, well, just 3 off the top of my head.
One.
Would be to stop giving Israel billions of dollars.
Okay.
That's something that would benefit the U.S. and hurt Israel, or to not hide and cover up things like when Israel was caught spying on the White House, even just as recently as last month, right? No one cares about this. It's all covered up.
And that would benefit America, you say, and hurt Israel.
You're saying truth wouldn't benefit America?
I'm asking you. I didn't say it would or wouldn't. Okay.
Yeah. And
appreciate it, Fem Fic.
We could build our wall, and
definitely
with all that money we give Israel. So.
All right. Appreciate it, Fem Fic. Take care.
All right. Bye.
All right. Let me. Oh, man, I have 10 minutes left. Let me quickly, I noticed that a lot of times these people get this knowledge, and there's other people like Jesse and Trump that are not as interested in all this knowledge stuff, such as the things that she cited. And there is a certain victim mentality that creeps in. Like you become what you hate. You become subversive. You become a victim-minded person, and that's part of the problem. And you become angry, and that's part of the problem with these people, with the Israel type people that you guys don't like, and with the black gay guy, victim-minded, even though he pretends not to be, right? He's like, you don't want me in this thing, but you'll notice that these guys start to say things that aren't true, make accusations that they don't know. Like they'll make up stuff like I'm Jewish or that Jesse is paid by these people. When they have no idea, you become what you hate. So you become part of the controlled opposition. You'll notice that. Here's another thing of this victim-minded thing. The Armenian Genocide, they were pushing that. And just show a couple of these things. I was okay with acknowledging the so-called Armenian Genocide. They talk about the USS Liberty being sunk back in 1967. Well, at a certain point, when all the perpetrators are dead, you have to forget about it. The ADL, of all people, is pushing for the Armenian Genocide, which took place over 100 years ago. The Turks went after the Christians, and the Christians were the Armenians, right? And killed a bunch of them. I believe it was a genocide. I wasn't there, and they say it was a crime against humanity. And so Adam Schiff is on board with this. This black woman, Sheila Jackson-Lee, I think, is involved in it. Samantha Power, evil woman from the Trump campaign. There's Sheila Jackson-Lee saying, silence on one genocide is silence on all genocides. So all the victims want to join forces with one another and push that nonsense. Cruz introduced a resolution along with Senator Bob Menendez. Senator Ted Cruz joined Bob Menendez. Bad move, Ted Cruz, I think, because Bob Menendez, I think, or has been investigated for corruption. And he's quote tweeting the ADL, Anti-Defamation League, which defames Americans and Christians and whites. They're evil. And the ANCA Western. And we've interviewed people on the Armenian Genocide before. And we have Armenians that come to church with Jesse Lee Peterson and all that stuff. But I think that it is time to get over all of these victim things. Whether it's the USS Liberty, whether it's the what is that thing called? The Jews went through the Holocaust. Get over that. The Indian thing. You know, the Indian. They claim, the American Indians claim that they were genocided. Some of them do. Get over that. First of all, it's not true. Get over slavery, yeah, and Jim Crow and all that stuff. First of all, you don't even know what it was really like. You're getting these dramatized things of what it was about, and it's really pathetic. Let me quickly. Oh. Let me quickly get to a call, and then I'll try to get to maybe one more clip or whatever. Flynn out of Ohio, first-time caller. Fynn, sorry, not Flynn. Fynn, are you there?
Yeah, Hank, good to talk to you, man.
Yeah.
Huge fan. I was there at the event last night. I don't know when it went off too much time to get into it, but I came last night and I went to ask Charlie Kirk a question, but it was like revealed during the whole show. I thought he was a conservative.
Mm-hmm.
And, he really showed his hand last night. He's not a conservative. He's all about gays and immigration.
Yeah.
And, I was going to ask him a question about the Israel thing with Turkey, but I didn't have time because they canceled the Q&A because, honestly,
they cut it off after an hour and 10 minutes of streaming, and only half of that was Q&A or less. But
yeah,
it was an interesting dialogue. Say that again? They locked the door?
No, the line to ask
Q&A
went all the way back to the door.
Yep. That's good. I mean, I'm glad that you guys are asking these questions, especially the morality ones that are just clear, plain as day. You don't have to know a bunch of prior knowledge to know about that stuff. Those are eye-opening questions to see how they react. And then to your guys' credit about this whole Israel thing, he cited their acceptance of homosexuality as a positive thing, because in America, just like in Israel, just like in America, there's whole groups that fully accept this homosexuality stuff. I think I heard that Tel Aviv is like one of the gay capitals of the world. I could be wrong about that, but I think that it is.
And even more than that,
it's kind of like Atlanta or
the pedophilia that goes on there it's insane.
If that's true, I don't know. I'm not into spreading speculation. If you happen to know that's true, that's disgusting. I wouldn't be surprised because there's an interesting thing where the gays seem like they are attracted, maybe not even sexually sometimes, to like kids. It's like the innocence of kids that they lost or something like that. And
yeah. It's like the secularists are like really critical of the Orthodox because that's where most of pedophilia goes on. But I mean,
Fynn, I would rather not repeat that stuff if I'm not familiar with it. So I'm rather not. You can send that to me if you have evidence of that. But it's kind of disgusting stuff to talk about in the first place.
It's dark.
I appreciate it, Fynn.
But those guys, I just want to say one thing that the environment there was super positive and lighthearted. The guys, I didn't know about these Nick Fuentes guys before last night. And they're hilarious, man. Everybody was having a good time.
It was cool. I appreciate it, Fynn.
Hank, have a great one.
All right, you as well. Take care.
All right, see you.
Bye. Let me quickly play this. I think I'm on E. Am I on E? Let's go for it.
I'd like to know, how long do we have to wait until child drag shows are pushed as American traditional conservatism?
Seriously.
Let me answer. I'm going to answer that question. So, I get a lot of crap, and I've been getting a lot of crap from people in this room about being a gay conservative. And let me be very clear right now. No, you're not. But okay, that's great.
What are you conserving?
You served in the United States military. That's what you conserved, my friend.
How about I serve
in the military while you're a coward and you go to the front of the line?
How about I
went through
conserve
a
this country,
to protect our freedoms
while
you go up talking about conserving our country?
Your freedoms when I was
They didn't
fighting in
conserve
Iraq
anything.
for you. How about
No.
that? Is
That's not true.
Is that a good enough answer about what I conserve? So let me be clear, because I want to address what he's saying, because I think that there's a valid point in what he's saying, even though what he's saying is crap.
Crap.
So there's this idea that there's a lot of crap going on in the far, I call it the LGBT alphabet soup left, that myself as a gay conservative is like pushing back on. The child drag queen stuff is garbage. Okay, the drag kid stuff is garbage. Trans kids is garbage. Okay. And so I get crap from the right for being a quote-unquote fake conservative, and I get crap from the left when I stand up against that stuff and say that we need to calm that stuff down because it is not doing anything for America. As a matter of fact, I think that child drag queens and I think that trans kids, quote-unquote, are destructive to the fabric of this country. I absolutely
Destructive to
believe
the kids.
So not to address a troll, but I need to say, as a gay conservative,
valid question, not a troll.
myself and the Ricky Rebels of the world and the Scott Pressers of the world, we're the only ones in that community that are standing up against that crap and calling it for what it is. So if you don't think that you need us in the movement, these people on the left, the alphabet soup is going to do a lot of crazy stuff, and we need to pull them back in line, period. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
So listen, man, about what this guy just said. I blanked on what he said. First of all, he spoke with no authority. He can't you don't need gays to speak out. You don't need blacks to speak out against blacks. You can be a white man speaking out against that. You can be a straight person. You can be a Christian speaking out against the LGBT. You don't need the so-called LGBT to criticize itself. He said, we need to calm that stuff down, guys. That's weak. He's not going to make any impact. We need men to make impact, like real men, not like him. So, and calling him a troll, that was a valid question. Let me quickly get to this last soundbite. Play it. It's the last one, right, Ev?
In the wake of the student debt crisis, stagnant wage growth across all education levels in all fields, liberal arts, STEM, how is regurgitating this far-left talking point of stapling green cards to diplomas America first? How is this any different than chain migration funded by taxpayers through the NSF, DOE, DOD? Those funds go to...
Yeah, I'm happy to elaborate on it. So I said at a speech last week that if someone graduates from a four-year college, they should have a green card stapled to their diploma. Let me elaborate on that further. I don't think it makes sense as America First to invest our tax dollars in foreign nationals that come to our own publicly funded universities and then say go back and compete against us in Korea, Japan, or Southeast Asia.
In the first place, then.
Well, so you just said they're competing against us here. Well, actually, if they're employed by American companies or they're entrepreneurs, there's evidence to show that they actually embrace our American cultural identity and they come and they immerse into our country. So I'll give you a great example. They become liberals. So you look at, I'll give you a great example.
Asians.
The same sort of skepticism, the same sort of hostility was given towards Asians in the 1940s and 50s. Asians have been one of the most productive, one of the most amazing communities, least likely to commit crimes, most contributing communities to our country, including Indian Americans, people from Southeast Asia.
And anti-white.
And so I will say this. Look, I'll nuance it even further.
Anti-Christian,
and a green card is not citizenship. I did not say citizenship. There's a huge difference there. But if you graduate from Stanford, MIT, Yale, and you're able to find a job that needs to be filled by an American employer, then yes, I do believe you should be given temporary residency to be able to fill that job. And guess what? You pay taxes. You're within the system.
Anyways, I plainly disagree with him on that too. We don't need smart foreigners coming in and then competing with Americans. It's dumb. And he brought up Asians. Like I said, there's Asians or not. So anyways, good job, guys. I'm sorry to the rest of the callers I couldn't get to you, but I hope you enjoyed that. Don't join forces with this victimhood stuff, whether it's white victimhood, black victimhood, Jewish victimhood, Armenian victimhood, and be tough. Keep on fighting, but make sure that you don't hate these guys that are hateful like that, because those were some hateful responses. That was a more honest response, but it was honestly wrong in that case. So there you have it. That's TPUSA. Didn't address most of those questions very well. That last one, it was an honest response, but it was totally misguided though. All right, guys, talk to you tomorrow. The Jesse Lee Peterson Show, JLPtalk.com. The Hake Report, thehakereport.com. And, all right, guys, take care.
What?